Hi, I'm John,
And I'm Stephen.
and welcome back to the overview of Christian doctrines. We're in the middle of going through the doctrine of the church,
Yep.
and today we're going to tackle this interesting question: how is the church governed? Now, we all know that the head of the church is Jesus Christ,
Right.
but practically, how is a church ought to function on a day-to-day basis? It must be run by people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we need to talk about church polity.
Mm,
By church polity, we mean how the church is set up. And in general, there are three types of church polity. There is Episcopal, Presbyterian, and Congregational. Three ways to set up the church.
Okay, let's start with the first one, Episcopal.
Yeah, the word Episcopal come from the Greek word episkopos, meaning bishop.
Mm.
So the authority of the church in the Episcopal system is the bishop, the office of the bishop. So you can imagine the church that is in the city is run by a church leader, and then there are these towns around the city, right, that are called the parish towns, where you have your local pastors and local congregation, and the leader of this whole setup is the leader in the city. So that leader in the church in the city is the bishop, right? So that's where the cathedral is. That's where the seat of the bishop is, in the cathedral, and then he is responsible to oversee all these other parish churches. So his job is to ordain ministers to serve in these other parishes around the cathedral, to preserve doctrine, to be the point of reference for what is true Christian doctrine. He stands in apostolic succession. So somebody else appointed him that is said to go all the way back to the apostles, right? And he governs the congregations. So this is the Episcopalian church polity. That is the bishop who governs many congregations under him.
Okay, so what are some example of Episcopal churches?
Yeah, so this would include the Catholic Church,
Mm.
the Lutheran Church has bishops, the Anglican Church has bishops, the Methodist Church has bishops. So these are some of the Episcopal churches.
Mm. So is the Pope a bishop?
The Pope is the Bishop of Rome.
Okay, I see.
That's right.
All right.
So that is Episcopalian system. The next system we want to look at is Presbyterian polity.
Mhm.
So Presbyterian comes from the Greek word presbyteroi, which means elder, right? So the authority lies in the office of the elder. And the structure of the Presbyterian system is that we have the local session. So the local church is called session, and these sessions are ruled by elders. There are the ruling elders and the teaching elders. The ruling elders is responsible for the smooth operation of the church, and the teaching elders are full-time pastors with the theological training. So together, these ruling elders and the teaching elders, they will run the local session, and there will also be representatives to a gathering of local sessions, a grouping of local sessions called the presbytery. And that presbytery would send representatives from among its members to the synod, which is the regional setup. And the synod consists of all these sessions, presbyteries, but then a denomination may also have other organizations under it, such as it may have seminaries, it may have hospitals, it may have other organizations under it. So when the whole denomination comes together, that is called the General Assembly.
I see. So who appoints these elders?
Yeah, so teaching elders, they're all appointed by the other elders, so confirmed by the presbytery.
Okay. So obviously the Presbyterian Church falls under this
Yeah.
polity, but is there any other churches that
Yeah, so
adopts this?
so the Dutch Reformed Church, for example, is also have a very similar structure as the Presbyterian system. So we usually just group them all under the Presbyterian system.
Okay. And the last but not least is the Congregational polity.
Yeah, the Congregational polity emphasizes on the local congregation. There is no higher authority than that local congregation that meets regularly itself. So therefore, its authority is autonomous. It doesn't report to a bishop. It doesn't report to a presbytery. So it just is a standalone local assembly. So in such setting, usually you would emphasize more on the priesthood of believers, because you don't really have external resources to tap into. Your church is your church. So in this kind of church polity, again, no higher authority than the local congregation. But of course, the local congregation doesn't have to always stand alone. It can join, voluntarily join some cooperative affiliations. That is non-binding in a lot of ways. It is not a structure over you, but it is a fellowship and affiliation to share resources and things like that. There is also the debate about single elders versus plurality of elders. So some congregations, they have a single elder, a senior pastor who runs the show. And then there are other churches where we have a plurality of elders, maybe odd number, so that, there's a tiebreak. Yeah. And there is also talk about how do we get these elders? How do we appoint these elders? So some would go the route of election. We run an election for the board members, for the board of elders, right?
Well, so it's like politics like that.
Well, yeah, because if the church is owned by the congregation, then the congregation, the members ought to have a say. And what methodology do we have to know what the church wants, what the individual members, they have a say. So election will be one route to discern what is the will of the congregation. Other setups will have invited elders. That means maybe the existing elders would invite someone to join the board of elders, of course, always with the consent of the congregation.
All right. So these are the three main structures, polities that most churches subscribe to. How about those independent churches that doesn't seem to be under any...
Oh, so the independent churches, they are autonomous. So because they're autonomous, so they are grouped under congregational. After all, there isn't a pastor, there isn't a layer of representative bodies like the Presbyterians do. So since there isn't a cathedral parish relationship, there isn't a layers of representations, then naturally that will be congregational.
All right. So these are how the church is governed. So join us next time at Overview of Christian Doctrines.